Hi guys, Bran here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, I wanted to talk about what killer I think is the most perfectly designed in Dead by Daylight. I don't think any killer is perfectly designed in this game, and we'll cover that in this video. But there are some killers, and one in particular that comes to my mind that, like, when Behavior designed this killer, I think they got very, very close to making something that was a cool, awesome, functioning killer that works really, really, really well, but isn't really OP in any way, shape, or form. Nothing about them really is super crazy and comes off as super duper unfair, except for one minor thing, and we'll talk about that as well. But that killer that I think is the best shot they've had at making a perfectly designed killer is Demo. The Demo, the good boy, or as we like to call him, Greg, because Netflix owns the rights to Demogorgon and they took him off the store, so I guess he's just Greg now. That's a joke, by the way, before somebody in the comments is like, oh my god, I still own him because I bought him. He's totally still in the game. Yes, I understand. It's a joke. Relax. Jeez, it's community sometimes. Anyways. So why do I think Demo is the closest Behavior has gotten to designing a perfect killer? Essentially, it comes down to the fact that Demo has all of the tools that makes a character good in Dead by Daylight, but he gets none of those tools for free. So you really can't argue with him when he has good map mobility or good anti-chase or any of these things, because all these things require setup. Let's look at his map mobility, for example. So the way he has map mobility, which a lot of killers don't have, which is honestly the major thing that holds them back, is the fact that they don't have map mobility in Dead by Daylight. How many times have you been playing an M1 killer like Doctor or Myers, and you have to walk all the way across Ormond or Mother's Dwelling just to go pressure a gen, and you can't do it in time, and you just should have played another character, Forehead. But Demo has map mobility, but it's not for free. Demo has to actually go and set his portals, because that's his map mobility, his portals that he travels through. He has a limited amount, and he has to set them down first. Essentially, he has to place his teleportation points. It's not like Freddy, where it's just the gens and he just goes to the gens. But he has to literally set down the portals to be able to teleport between them. So he doesn't just have free map mobility like, say, Blight, who you just, at the beginning of the match, you can just end up across the map immediately for essentially no drawback whatsoever. Literally at all. I think this is another important aspect, is that Demo's portals, you can place them incorrectly. Just because you place the portal down doesn't mean it's a good portal. You can put a portal so close to an objective that the survivors can very, very loudly and clearly hear you teleporting between the portals right next to you. And it kind of defeats the purpose of Demo's, auxiliary ability with this, which is that he has undetectable for a very, very short amount of time when he comes out of a portal. But if you put it too close to the objectives, they can just, that you're trying to pressure, they can just hear you coming out of the portal. So you can place portals incorrectly and make them super easy to seal, make it super easy for the survivors to react. So even the aspect of actually teleporting in your portal placement has a learning curve to it that you can screw up. It's still just not free. Even after you place those down, it's still not oh hey, well now I have the portals down and now I can just, everything just goes burr from here on out. You still have to think about where you're placing those in terms of effectiveness. Also, Demo does have an anti-chase part of his kit as well, but it's not nearly as annoying as the rest of the killers that have anti-chase abilities, like say Nemesis or the Artist or whatever. So he has his shred, so obviously he has a lunge that he has to charge for a second, and then he can yeet forward and lunge at everybody. This is not the ultimate anti-chase. It's not like Nemesis, where if you reach a pallet with a Nemesis, if you reach a pallet with a Nemesis, either he's getting the infect, he's breaking the pallet, or he's hitting you. So essentially, in all three of those scenarios, Nemesis's anti-chase ability essentially progresses the match in his favor somehow for free, full free, which is really, really obnoxious and really, really dumb. But Demos, you can actually dodge or bait his shred. That way he'll intentionally miss. You can fake a window, and when he lunges, he'll hit the window. You can bait him to think you're going one way and then immediately juke back the other way, and he'll lunge the complete wrong direction. And that makes it to where, even though he does have an anti-chase tool, it requires you can mind game him and force him to use it incorrectly. It's not just a guaranteed hit, because you can force him to use it incorrectly. You can trick him and then he doesn't get the hit. However, However, the one way that Demo is perhaps not perfectly designed is that he can use this shred for zoning. He can just open his face to prepare a shred, and you try to do the thing that you're supposed to do, which is kind of like, you know, bait him and try to make him think you're going one way or the other. And he can just hold his face open like permanently. So like he can essentially just zone you, watch you run back and forth and lose distance, and then get a free hit. That's like the only part of him I think is like actually unfair, or like, I don't even think it's poorly designed. I just think if we're looking strictly as like, you know, things that, you know, you don't really have a whole lot of counterplay against, like that is one of the only things that he has that like truly doesn't have a whole lot of counterplay, especially in open areas. But even then, I feel like that's like relatively minute, and he's relatively weak on that side compared to other killers that can zone. So like it's not like the hugest deal in the world. So I think like he, as a complete package, is probably the most well-balanced killer that DBD has ever put out. I think that if all of the killers that were weaker than Demo had a kit similar to Demogorgon, that like I feel like the balance of the game would be a lot better, because we made that video last week talking about like killer disparity and how like the power gap between the killers is like way too much. I feel like if the killer kits like across the board were more similar to Demogorgon's, I'm not saying give clown portals or anything, but I'm saying like they gave him map mobility, but at a cost. They gave him anti-chase, but it can be dodged. And I think that's just like, I think it's just smart design. And I think that I wish more killers in this game were like that, because then I feel like the power gap would not be so horrible. But yeah, that's it for this video. It's a relatively short one. I just wanted to, you know, gush about the fact that I think that Demo is better, one of the better designed killers in this game, if not like the most fairly designed killer in this game, if not just for that tiny little bit that he can zone and hit you. But other than that, I don't have anything else for you. Thank you so much for watching, friendos. If you like this video, make sure you like it down below, because that's how I know that you liked what I did here and I can make more of these. And also, if you want to stick around, make sure you sub, because the YouTube homepage will hide my videos even though I upload daily, because that's how the algorithm works. So I don't know. I don't fight the YouTube overlords, I just work with them, okay? So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and if I don't, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Bye-bye.